Before I begin, I want to give special thanks to the Voxel Agents for sending us a copy of this game to review. Shown off in the Indie Highlight Direct just before Gamescom, The Gardens Between is a puzzle game for Nintendo Switch, where players have to traverse through a series of dioramas and bring light to a monument at the top. What makes this game stand out from other diorama puzzle games like Captain Toad is that rather than control the two protagonists of the game, players instead control the flow of time, having the power to fast forward, rewind and stop time when needed to advance. But will this game stand the test of time? Let's find out. The story centers around two friends, Arena and Friend, who on a rainy night awaken on an island made of their memories and must solve puzzles based around key moments of their friendship. And that is all I will say on the plot. This is definitely a game that doesn't rub the story in the players' faces, and a big part of the game is interpretation, so me explaining the plot would be ruining the experience. Let's just say that the developer's description of a bittersweet narrative is definitely accurate, and once the game was done, the game's title made so much sense. I definitely enjoyed this. As I described in the intro, the game is played by manipulating time, but the way it does this is really clever. Sometimes this involves stopping time at the right, time, manipulating time for only certain objects and changing the character's pathways by going forwards and backwards, altering the land as you do so. But it doesn't just rely on time for its puzzles. Light is a key part of the game, as each level can only be beaten by taking a lamp of light held by Arena to the top of the map. But lighting this lamp and keeping it lit are frequent parts of the puzzle, and figuring this out along with the time mechanic is vital. Then there are the puzzles that involve angles, and others that involve keeping an eye on patterns in the environments to solve puzzles. Despite seeming like a simple mechanic at first, after all the only controls are A to interact and then forward and back to move time forward and back, the developers managed to get many unique puzzles out of it that will test your abilities, especially one in particular towards the end of the game that had me stumped for a while. However, there is a limit, and this is shown in the game's length. The game is not very long. I beat it in under 4 hours. While I like that personally due to being a working adult with a lot to do, I understand if this bothers some players. The game's puzzles are really good though. While I only occasionally got really stumped, I thought almost all of them were really clever and led to some good eureka moments when I figured them out. The game uses stylized, cel-shaded 3D models to really give some interesting aesthetics to the world, and it really does fit, but what I really liked about the presentation as a whole, both graphics and sound, is how zen it all is. This was a game that I had to just take into bed with me and play with dim lights as a kind of stress relief. The use of light, the dimmed palette and relaxing music led to an incredibly immersive and relaxing experience. That doesn't mean the game doesn't get tense at points later on. As the story goes on, there are later worlds that really reflect the particular feelings of the characters, and that really adds to the game. Again, no spoilers, but I truly felt what the developers wanted me to feel playing this, which is a great sign. The Gardens Between is a really good puzzle game that doesn't really have a comparison to any existing Switch title. I know I compared it to Captain Toad earlier, but that is really on a very surface level. The two games give off extremely different vibes, and are played very differently. Really the only crime of this game is that it finishes just a tad too soon. I never expected a long game, but it felt like it ended a world or two too early. The puzzles are all very good, but a lot of the early game I breezed through. I don't know if that is due to my own ability or the game's puzzles being too obvious, and so this is likely a factor that will change per player. Regardless of that, the story and presentation were really immersive and did well to pull me in, so for those looking for a puzzle experience, I totally recommend this game. This is one garden I want to stay in for a bit longer. Once again, I want to thank the Voxel Agents for sending us a copy of this game to review. I hope it does them well. As for everyone else, let me know what you thought of this review and if you're interested in picking up this game in the comments below. Give us a like if you haven't already, and I want to give a special thanks to all of our lovely patrons, in particular the super patron, the Duke of Dorks. A link to his channel is in the description below. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and always remember to return to the source.